Speaking of getting on with life, so, and bridges.
And with your questions, because they're... We can smell the tar.
I'm making a wonderful transition out of this country into another one. House is rented, all my stuff's gone, and I usually don't focus on the physical, but this transition has, of course, focused me very, very much on the physical. In the process of the last few days, I have a question analogous to where's my stuff, more specifically, where's my passport?
It's hiding in that resistant place with your concern about doing something. Begin calling it temporary. It's a temporary discovery of another place instead of it's a permanent moving to another place, and your passport will reveal itself to you.
It's a temporary...
It's just an indication of your resistance about this. In other words, you said something interesting. You said, I usually don't focus in the physical. Mm-hmm. Well, that's why you can't find your passport. And in other words, you could just show up and say, scan my eyeballs.
Yeah, right.
But they're not ready for that.
I know.
So you have to find your passport.
I know.
So, or you could just remind yourself how incredibly easy it is to get a replacement.
Yeah.
And then you'll have two.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Well, this is also the concept of humor. I'd like a little bit of parsing out. How does source play? Like, humor raises the energy. How do you differentiate the use of humor that elucidates for a group and balance between humor that is towards a group versus what might be hurtful in a sense to an individual? And where do you balance humor versus ridicule versus sarcasm? Versus...
Anything that is spoken from inside the vortex is uplifting in nature. Anything that's spoken from outside the vortex is not uplifting in nature. No one would ever ridicule when they are feeling good about themselves or about something else. So it's really the in the vortex, out of the vortex thing.
So Source never uses humor inappropriately?
Source never does anything inappropriate.
Okay. No, so it is always.
If you take it the wrong way, it's your problem.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
But we are also aware of where you are before we offer anything. And if you can't take it, we don't dish it out. Yeah, because our dominant intention at all times is to bring you closer to who you are.
And we're just not quite as good at that sometimes, obviously. But
getting better all the time. Also, the primary gift of humor is the surprise factor.
Yeah.
And the underpinning of the value of the surprise factor is the distraction factor. So often we will use humor to distract from it. That's what Jerry did with Esther. She's thinking about this new garment that she's wanting to wear and sort of struggling with whether she wanted to or not. And the first clear thing that she heard from Jerry was very humorous. Did someone die? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Exactly. Well, this brings up the concept of balance. Is what's more important in a sense, balance or the high emotions of love and appreciation? Because balance is something I'm trying to understand more.
Well, the high emotions of love and appreciation are perfect balance.
But they seem to be temporary states a lot of times. They're really high up there, and so it almost seems like a lot of times to be, because there's obsessive love, and then there is, like, in a sense,
which is out of the vortex
right.
love.
But we move between these parallels, and so it almost feels like being in between in a balance is its own, bliss, joy, what have you. Like, a balance is its own place outside the polarities.
Well, we disagree with something that you say, because it's true that when you are in love and appreciation, that you are in the ultimate balance, and it's the balance between the source you and the physical you. It's the balance between the inner being you. In other words, when you are out here on the leading edge and you are without resistance and in a complete state of allowance, then the fullness of who you are is there. And that is something that is possible to maintain on a more consistent basis than most anybody does. It requires stronger reason. That's the bridge that Jerry is bringing to Esther. It requires stronger reason you see. So if you have a stronger reason, it's like negative emotion doesn't bother you that much until it gets really strong, and then you do something about it. And so the pickier you are and the more you care about how you feel, the more you will maintain that alignment with who you are. And that alignment with who you are is in other words, feel the difference between the emotion that is evoked with the word passion and the idea of the emotion that is evoked with the word love. They feel like different frequencies in that passion feels more off the wall enthusiastic, while love feels more like contentment and satisfaction and that sort of thing. And yet they are the same frequency. And so we just want you to understand that when you're in alignment, your focus might shift. So it might feel like there are highs and lows in it, but it's not highs and lows in the vibration. It's differences in the way the emotions feel.
Vibration versus frequency? Those two
vibration and frequency meaning the same thing.
All right.
Yes.
So
if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would say to ourselves, and on a regular basis until we come to really mean it and know it, that I am happy in a feeling of love. I am happy in a feeling of enthusiasm. I'm happy in a feeling of passion. I'm happy in a feeling of surprise. I just want the majority of my feelings to be coming from inside the vortex in that delicious mix of possibilities. It would be like trying to define in the painting which color was the most important one.
That's a nice metaphor.
When it's a tapestry that's all blended together and each part of it makes the other richer. And you're right. There is, in essence, a sort of contrast in emotion, but there's not a vibrational contrast in those emotions of alignment. First time we've said that. That's really an important thing to acknowledge. There's not a vibrational difference between love and appreciation, and yet they are different parts of the tapestry. They are all that high, pure frequency, you see.
All right, well,
but there's a big vibrational difference between love and hate, or love and worry, or love and fear, or love and loss.
Yet we will be creating more vibrational difference as we move forward. In other words,
more subtle difference, you see. But here's a really wonderful thing to acknowledge. Non-physical has variance in vibration, but it is so insignificant that humans couldn't feel the difference. Sure. Wouldn't it be really a wonderful thing to be physically focused and learn to project yourself, focus yourself so specifically that the personal causation that you are accomplishing is all what you would call positive emotion. And let's not nitpick over which is better, love or appreciation or a feeling of satisfaction and contentment. Esther was trying to describe it the other night as she was sitting with Tracy and with one of her sisters, visiting and appreciating the perfection of how all of this played out relative to Jerry's transition. How everything's in place. The list just goes on, and her feeling of appreciation was just intense and focused, and a feeling of well-being, unlike anything that she's felt before. So it was uniquely the addition that Jerry was contributing to it, washed over her, not over her, through her, in and out of her, everywhere. And she was trying to describe, they could tell by the expression on her face that something wonderful was going on, but she was trying to describe it. And she said, it's like every positive emotion that I've ever felt or tried to define is present within me in a feeling way to which there are not adequate words, you see. And that's that kind of bridging that we're talking about. You've always all had access to all of that because we've always been there for all of you. But for differing reasons and to different degrees, you hold us apart, you see.
So go ahead, please.
Go ahead, please.
On this concept of the tapestry, how did Source get created, and what was the creational path of Source? Well,
it's an evolution that's been going on for so long that trying to find the beginning place of that could not be more counterproductive. It really would be like saying, I am a master chef, and I have a palate that is so sophisticated. I eat what I like, and I like what I eat, but hardly anybody else gets it like I do. It's really, 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 really sophisticatedly divine. But I'm going to spend the next week or month or so figuring out what the first man cooked on the fire. Where did he get it? What kind of utensils did he use to cook it? And we say, you're not going to like it when you go there.
Just go
It
from
was
here.
overcooked the first time. It was a big old tough piece of dinosaur that no one would want to eat.
Right. So just go from here.
Yes, man was here with the dinosaur.
Nice.
And
Nice.
you get the sense of what... And
So give a number. Can we have a number? What the heck? Isn't there a number? Come on, just for the heck of it. Fun? No? All right, forget it. Fine. All right, just
you're
in our
a lot more-
context. We like to know things. We do like to know.
Get out.
All right.
If you will... We'll let him sit down and then we'll break it to him. They all know something that you don't know, and that is that it is the end of this segment. You don't have to sit here during segment of refreshment, but we will begin with you when we return.
Okay.
Good time for it.